So this recording is from a peninsula in the north of Iceland, kind of in the center of the north coast of Iceland. And the reason I went there 2 years ago was because has the highest density of great northern divers, also known as common loons. Um, and it's an area of tundra-like landscape with scattered lakes, the odd small mountain, and the timing of the visit, first week of May, in fact, 5th of May, because which happens to be the same day as International Dawn Chorus Day this year. It was because that was more or less when the ice was expected to break up on the lakes sufficiently for the divers to be back again. And the mission was to try and get good recordings of Great Northern Diver. Easier said than done. We were staying in a small wooden cabin, and there was a couple of times when we woke up in the morning and the window was completely blocked with snow. It was like you couldn't see through the window. There was blizzards, there was strong winds, there was rain some days. There was, it was really hit or miss whether I was going to get anything at all. So, of course, I was checking the weather forecasts and seeing if there was going to be a window in all this bad weather. And it did look like there was going to be, I think we arrived in, say, weekend, or maybe it was a Sunday, and we had 6 days there. So 6 days to get this thing done. And I had 4 sets of equipment with me. A couple of autonomous recorders, a parabola. I had a SAS, which makes beautiful ambient recordings. And basically, I was going to have to throw everything I had at this, because I also didn't know which lakes were, which pairs of divers were going to perform, which were not. So I spent the days driving around the area, looking for lakes that had Great Northern Divers, and leaving equipment there in the hope that at some point there would be a break in the weather and they would start to sing. And eventually, on the 5th day, I think it was, suddenly everything calmed down overnight, and it did look like there was going to be a window. So that night, I literally had 4 sets of equipment out in different places working. And in this particular place, there were divers. And in fact, you can hear right at the beginning of this recording, there's a distant Great Northern Diver, but that's the only appearance it makes in this recording. There's red-throated divers wailing sort of this kind of sounds, and also which I can do very well today because I've got a cold, so I can do that sound more easily. But the actual main features of this recording are not divers. It's probably the dominant sound here is golden plover. It's such a beautiful sound. The songs of the golden plover's songs, and they also have this warbling song that I'm not even going to try to imitate, but it's very beautiful. And then there's there's 2 passerines in the recording. It's meadow pipits, which has got this descending, very simple descending songs, and the snow bunting, which is very beautiful whistling, kind of almost like a human whistling little jingle that you hear now and then. But actually, there's a total of 10 species in the recording that I've noticed just now in listening through it. And they include, so Great Northern Diver, red-throated diver, purple sandpiper, there's a song once or twice in the middle. There's rock ptarmigan, appearing a few times. And then there's cameo appearances by hooper swan. You'd have to really listen well to find that one. It's quite distant. There's common snipe doing a kind of tick-tock song, tick-tock, 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 somewhere in the distance at one point. And then there's a beautiful distant song flight of Icelandic black-tailed godwits. So, and there's no trickery here. This all happens in the space of, what is it? 4.5 minutes in this beautiful place in Iceland, on this wonderful calm night. And of course, I did look for the richest bit in the whole recording. This is the bit where I found the highest number of species in a reasonably short time. But it was very rich, and you'd be surprised. I mean, you think of Iceland as being a fairly, it's a fairly barren place a lot of the time, and you don't think of it as somewhere that has extremely high species diversity, except perhaps on the lakes that are full of wildfowl. But there is really a beautiful diversity here, and I think it's an absolutely gorgeous soundscape. And so I was very pleased with this recording. And as incidentally, this was the very place and the very same night where I proposed to my wife, and she fortunately she said yes. So when I went to put the recording there, I was accompanied by my girlfriend, and by the time I went to pick it up, I was accompanied by my fiance, and it was a beautiful walk. It was about 5 kilometers in and 5 kilometers back to put the microphone, and it involved me jumping over a stream at one point, which she didn't like at all. She thought I was going to fall in and she was going to have to carry me back 5 kilometers, but fortunately I managed. So it was quite a special recording for me.